Here we go with uh, the first of several slide presentations, as I would do during lectures. Uh, we're going to talk about muscle now. Um, the We've been introduced already to the three kinds of muscles, and you see them present on the screen in front of you right now. Those three kinds are skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle. Skeletal muscle is voluntary. That means you can move your own skeletal muscles and they move bones around whenever you feel like you want to or need to. Uh, on the other hand, the other two kinds of muscles you do not have voluntary control over. Cardiac muscle and smooth muscle are both involuntary. Cardiac muscle, of course, makes up most of the wall of the heart. It contracts involuntarily and it contracts uh, under neuronal input, either from its own internal neuron structure, which we'll talk about at a later time, or it responds to nerve input from the autonomic nervous system to speed up or slow down your heart. Smooth muscle is found in the walls, as you see in the walls of internal organs. The digestive tract is the classic example of this. It's involuntary. You don't get to choose whether your food moves through your digestive system or not. You uh, take some food into your mouth, you chew it up, you swallow it, and everything happens according to plan, involuntarily on its own until it comes out the other end. Unless, of course, there is some sort of digestive upset. That's another story. Next, you see, we're going to talk about the structure of skeletal muscle. Of course, skeletal muscle attaches to bones. Of course, it attaches to the skin of your face to make emotions and facial expressions. We're having a lot of facial expressions these days because of this crazy virus and the pandemic that's going around, and we're all upset, and that creates a lot of wrinkles in your face. And you can do that consciously. You may think it's involuntary, but of course, it is under your control. Uh, Skeletal muscles are composed of course, there's skeletal muscle tissue itself, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty of that. There's also nervous tissue. I like to say that muscles are, well, I used to say that muscles are dumb. I don't know if probably not a very nice way to describe muscles, but muscles are ready to do what they're told to do, but they will do nothing if they're not told to do anything. The thing that tells them what to do is the nervous tissue. The nervous system tells a muscle when to contract and when to not contract. And the muscles are obedient. They listen. They contract when they're told to. They don't do anything if they're not told to. Of course, they need blood flow. Your muscles are going to go through a lot of ATP, a lot of energy. That means they have a lot of mitochondria to produce that energy. Um, and they need blood flow and oxygenation to produce all of the ATP that's necessary. And of course, connective tissues join the muscular tissue and distribute the force of the contraction to the connective tissues, which would be tendons, and those would connect to the bone at the periosteum, if you remember your bone anatomy, bone histology. So these are some of the connective tissue covers. You're going to see, we already know about tendons, you know, the structure of those, the connective tissue structure of tendons. These other two things, fascia and aponeuroses, are just very dense, thick connective tissue structures that allow muscles to have their action on various other structures of the body. You're familiar with muscles attaching to tendons, and then attaches to a bone, and that moves the bone around. But of course, muscles can move your face around, the facial skin, and that's attached through a fascia or an aponeurosis in your skin. You have aponeuroses in the palm of your hand to pull the skin away. The muscles are attached to the aponeurosis of the palm of your hand to pull your skin down into, make a hollow space inside the palm. And there are other examples of this throughout the body. Fascia is all over your body. It's just another connection for the muscle to pull on. The abdominal muscles are a good example of this. They pull on fascia, a very thick, dense connective tissue fascia, to create the tension and stress that's necessary around the abdomen. These are all connective tissue examples of connections of muscle to other things other than tendons. So muscles have connective tissue coverings that surround the muscle itself. I'm now going to show you a video about these very structures. And you have this available to you in the Anatomy and Physiology Revealed through your textbook, through the McGraw-Hill Connect section. So I'm going to show you that now. That is, where'd it go? Oh yes, technical difficulties, always. Here we are. Yes, so these are the videos that you have available to you through McGraw-Hill Connect, through your textbook. There are videos available in your textbook. In the textbook, I have this listing of them. Fortunately, you don't get this nice little listing here, but what I'm going to go to is this one called Animations of Skeletal Muscle. So I'll double click on that, open that up for you. I'm going to play the video now.
Skeletal muscle is responsible for a voluntary movement of the human body. Skeletal muscles are made up of muscle fibers with connective tissue wrappings. The dense, fibrous connective tissue surrounding the entire muscle is called the epimysium. At the ends of the muscle, the epimysium is continuous with the tendons and periosteum of the bone. Thin projections of connective tissue called perimysium extend from the epimysium into the muscle to surround bundles of muscle fibers known as fascicles. Within each fascicle, loose connective tissue called endomysium separates individual muscle fibers. A muscle fiber consists of a single elongated cell surrounded by a plasma membrane known as the sarcolemma. Each muscle fiber contains multiple nuclei that are found just beneath the sarcolemma. Thread-like structures called myofibrils extend the length of the fiber and dominate its interior. Myofibrils, which are unique to muscle, are composed of two kinds of protein filaments, actin or thin myofilaments and myosin or thick myofilaments. The actin and myosin myofilaments are organized in an orderly contractile unit called a sarcomere. The sliding of these filaments along each other shortens the sarcomere. When multiplied millions of times within a muscle, the shortened sarcomeres result in muscle contraction and ultimately movement of the skeleton.